Welcome back to the K4Wins. Getting ready for the big weekend here. It is a Friday. We do the show every single Tuesday and Friday around 10 o'clock Central Time. We have the Cubs, Brewers, Detroit Mariners going into games 5. The Dodgers got it done last night. And, of course, we also had a very interesting game in the National Football League last night. The Giants, what's going on with Philadelphia? We'll talk about that. And a huge weekend in college football. Two of the smelliest fishes come home to roost. Those two smelly fishes being the Auburn-Georgia game and the Alabama-Missouri game. Let's get started here with Case Kiefer. He's Executive Director, Chief Editor of the Las Vegas Sun, live from Las Vegas down below us. And Kai Gregory, who's been all over handicapping his entire life, is on the right-hand side. Gentlemen, how are we doing? First of all, how are we doing for this week, Kai?
Hey, 5-2 yesterday, including our double play on the team total for the Philadelphia Eagles in the first half. I think that's one of the only things that went well for Philly yesterday, though, as they were incredibly embarrassed, in my opinion. 23-15 last week, 93-51 last month. College football, we started out the year 59-27. I say started out and then realized we're in week 7. We've only got
isn't it crazy? I'm telling, and I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I said, can we all just sit here for a second, look at each other, and just enjoy the moment that it's like the second or third week, because before you know it, it's going to be playoff time. We're going to be going, what the hell just happened? But great numbers, good stuff. Absolutely love that. Let's jump right into a case, the smelly fish. I know we talk about where the public money is going. You obviously look at it a lot differently. We cannot believe that Georgia's only given up 3.5 at Auburn. And by the way, they just announced they're going to be retiring Cam Newton's jersey at the game down there in the South's oldest rivalry. A lot of people seem to care about that. And Alabama only giving up 3 on the road, and Missouri, a team that they have never lost to in a true road game. Let's start with the Georgia-Auburn game. Tell me where the public money's going and why is that line so low?
I made it 3.5, and it is 3.5, so I wasn't shocked at all. And it seems like it's probably where it should be. This has been among the least moving games all week. I do see here in Vegas, at least, we have one place at 3 and one at 4. Pretty big. You see that big of a delta, the key number this late in the week. So I guess there's both pretty public books too. So I just feel like there hasn't been a lot of betting interest in this game. I feel like the number's right where it should be. I mean, as far as what has Georgia shown this year to make you think they're way better than Auburn? I mean, I don't think very much. I think take away the quarterbacks and who has the better roster. I think you can make a compelling case that it's Auburn, and I could be wrong. Georgia could get hot, but I haven't been super impressed with Georgia this year. I've also been my previous statement might sound weird coming from me because I've been such a Gunnar Stockton detractor, but I think in this particular matchup, Stockton is a clear edge over Jackson Arnold. I mean, at least he has some chance to get, to get you back in the game. So I don't know. I think man for man, it's a pretty close matchup, but Georgia does have a little bit of an advantage at the most important position. So I don't know. Like I said, I put all my numbers together and I spit out 3.5. It's 3.5. Alabama, Missouri.
Hold on before you go there, because we can get a whole show out of this one game, because I want to make sure that we go game by game here. I would say this. I have not seen out of Arnold what I thought I'd see out of a guy that was supposed to be a 4 or 5-star guy going into Auburn. Everyone was waiting for that magic moment. Obviously, we know where he transferred from. They've only averaged 13.5 points a game in their SEC games. Auburn has. They're 1-4, by the way, in over-unders. So they're playing sloppy, ugly football, whatever you want to call it. For some reason, and I keep saying this, and I know we're week 7, Georgia has not played a complete defensive game yet. I don't know if they have a complete defensive game yet in their thing. We saw what they did against the second half against Alabama, but I don't know what Alabama's offense really was. They didn't score in the second half. So I guess I'm thinking to myself, Kyle, what does Auburn need to put up point-wise in order to get inside 3.5 against a Georgia squad that obviously can put some points up? That's the only thing is, can Auburn score 20 points?
I don't think Auburn can score 20 points on the 3 of us. But, I may be wrong. I just don't trust Jackson Arnold's arm. Now, he could run for it against us. I mean, I look at kind of Auburn's offense almost like Alabama's last year. If Milroe runs successfully for Alabama, they're successful. If he doesn't get a lot of yards running, Arnold for Auburn now, not necessarily as successful. And I just, Auburn's biggest hope is that the 2 tackles they're talking about from Georgia are going to be out this weekend. I think on the injury report this morning, they're listed as doubtful, or maybe they're listed as questionable, as doubtful Wednesday or Thursday. But they've got to get to Gunnar Stockton. They've got to They have to control the line of scrimmage. And I don't know that Auburn can do that against Georgia. But this is not, according to everyone and the metrics and all this, a Kirby Smart Georgia team, if you will, which I think is a great dumb statement. With NIL and with all the things going on, you just don't keep what they've kept. And the defense, I mean, good God, their defense is starting for Philly now, and who else? I mean, that's where all the Georgia good defenders are. So, if Auburn averages 13.5, then Georgia's got to score 17 to hit the 3.5 number. I know we're not going to see a 17 to 13.5 game, but I would be shocked if Auburn won the game. I would be shocked if Auburn stayed within the 3, which is what I got Georgia at earlier. But shocking things happen at Jordan-Hare.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you mentioned that. I've actually got on our bankroll show on the starting lineup, I've got a parlay going with the Georgia Bulldogs. We get a minus the 3. We can count it down to 3 in the particular ball game. I will say this, I have not seen that defense play the way I thought Georgia was going to play. Again, maybe that defense is not there, but I have not seen Auburn play offensively the way I thought I'd see them play as well. So I'm going to take my shot and say Georgia. I'm going to give Georgia the shot at being a 4-1 squad going into this game and giving up the 3. We'll see what happens. The other game, obviously, that everyone's talking about is Alabama, Missouri. Missouri's undefeated. Alabama comes flying in minus 3. I know as much as I can study. I thought for sure maybe this line would go up to 3.5, 4, maybe 4.5. It is stuck at a 3, 51.5. I know that Kai's got a huge play on a team total for Alabama as far as our bankroll contest goes. But why is Alabama only minus 3? A team that, by the way, they've never lost to on the road. They're 3-0 against Missouri. They never scored less than 38 points in any of those ball games. They've never given up more than 20 points in those ball games. It would seem like 38-20 would be a good score for this game for Alabama on the road, Missouri. If they win this game, you can make an argument that Alabama's going to be for real.
Yeah, you can make an argument for Missouri at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I hope Alabama pulls this out because I have a lot of futures on them. But I guess I just see this game differently than you guys and everyone I've talked to. I know Kip's heavy on Alabama too. I made it Alabama minus 2, so at 3.5. I mean, 1.5 point difference doesn't sound that big, but across 3, it's huge. So I bet Missouri plus 3.5 earlier in the week. It just really comes down to how you interpret what Missouri's done. I mean, I've got all the numbers up on paper right now. There is no doubt. I mean, the week 1 still counts. Missouri's been a better team than Alabama this year, without a doubt, but by the numbers, by their efficiency in just about every area. Now, if Kip was here, and I agree with him, this is the way you can shoot that down, is you could say, well, they haven't played anybody. Look at who they've played. Now, we tried to adjust the best we can for the teams you've played, but you can certainly make the argument that we haven't adjusted enough and that Alabama's played a much tougher schedule. And really, the numbers are really close. It's not like I'm saying Missouri's it's not David versus Goliath. I just think Missouri's been extremely impressive, especially offensively, with how well they've clicked, and they've been way more consistent than Alabama, frankly. You get that with being a home game where they typically have a pretty big home field advantage for whatever reason. I mean, they have one of the smaller fields, but going back over time, ever since they've joined the SEC, they've you go through the data, they've played above their expectations at home better than most teams, and I feel like this team's just more talented. Also, there's just some matchup things that I think favor Missouri here. I mean, we've seen Alabama's run defense be its Achilles heel for the last couple years, especially with mobile quarterbacks. I still say Pribula. I know you're supposed to say his name differently, but I heard Pribula for years. So, I mean, Pribula is so mobile, and Ahmad Hardy's like arguably been the best running back in the nation, or right up there. You could make the argument. So I like that matchup tick for Missouri. Again, I just think it's a really kind of close to a coin flip game. I would favor Alabama ever so slightly if you're just asking me to pick the winner. But I don't know. You can never underestimate the power of 3.5 and that hook at 3 or 7. And I just thought, right now it wouldn't be a play for me even at 3. 2 to 3 is just not a big enough difference. But if it gets back to 3.5, I feel pretty confident with Missouri.
I'm not saying he should be a Heisman Trophy hopeful or anything else, but Ahmad Hardy, what he's done this year for Missouri has been fantastic too. A kid that a lot of people believe not only is the best running back in the SEC, but perhaps in the nation. And I think as Hardy goes, as Missouri goes in this particular game, again, Alabama's never lost a true road game against Missouri. They've always had their numbers. We'll see what happens, giving up the 3. Kai, before we do move on, though, you did have a monster play. You put your entire bankroll on the what in the Alabama game, and why?
First, I have to channel my inner Kip Keefer. Who has Missouri played? They've played no one. All right. Anyway, so and I think Vandy's a better team than Missouri. Yeah, Alabama got lucky. Even you even say it in your column that Alabama should not have covered, but Jam breaks a run and they get the cover in the last minute. Missouri 0-5 versus Bama since joining the SEC. Average score 39-10. I read that this morning somewhere. I think Missouri's defense gets a wake-up call. My play is Alabama's team total over 27. I can certainly see Missouri keeping it. Why the line is where it is and what Case is saying. I just think Alabama gives Missouri a wake-up call. I do think they win the game, and I think they win it not necessarily easy, but seemingly easy. I do think a lot of the things absolutely match up. If Privula can stay upright against him, yes. But the thing that concerns me with Missouri's offense against Alabama is Missouri's big play potential, in my opinion, is not really there. They're really efficient 5-10-yard passes. Well, Alabama's weakness is the deep ball with their defense besides the running game. If you don't have that deep threat and Alabama can get up closer to the line, then Hardy may not have as easy as a time running the ball. So I'm just going to go with Alabama's team total over. I think Missouri's weakness in their defense is their secondary, and Alabama's strength on their offense is going to be Ty Simpson dropping back, throw into a very good receiving corps.
I think if Hardy goes over 100 yards, it's easy to call that because obviously that would be a huge game for him. I think they get it done. Otherwise, I think Alabama could probably get the victory. We're going to be all over the SEC because there's a couple other monster games. Arkansas, Tennessee is huge. Florida A&M is huge. We're going to get into it here in just a few minutes. I do want to mention the Big Ten, something to talk about. We have a 4-1 Nebraska taking on a 4-1 Maryland, which is kind of funky, kind of weird. I don't want to start there, though. I do want to start about a couple of undefeated teams. Indiana and Oregon, week 7 by now, you should say Indiana's for real deal. Of course, the Oregon Ducks get the big victory a couple weeks ago against Penn State. Open up 7.5. It's now down to 7 without the hook. The Oregon Ducks, does it look like a duck case? What do you got on that game?
I guess I'm gonna have to repeat my same rant again. Unfortunately, Kip's not here to hear it. But anyone see what happened last night? Kennesaw State absolutely stomped Conference USA favorite Louisiana Tech. I think we're all tied to last year when it was absolutely true. Indiana got the easiest schedule last year ever and capitalized on it. Indiana's schedule this year, looking back, has not been that easy. Every team they've played has been a little bit better than expected. I know maybe not Iowa. They just played Iowa. They kind of struggled there, but Iowa's always good defensively. It's tough to play it there. I feel like Indiana I'm on the opposite. I totally hear the arguments about Missouri's schedule, and I get why that would lean you on Alabama. But I'm just on the opposite side here. I'm screaming, look at who's Indiana's played. I feel like their strength of competition has been higher than Oregon's, even though Oregon had the one primetime game against Penn State. I think you even have to knock down a peg now that what we've seen Penn State do. And against what I would say is a tougher schedule, Indiana has been a better team. So I think it's a no-brainer to take 7. This is another one where I did get the best of the number. I'm sitting on Indiana plus 9.5, but I still don't think it's moved enough to where I wouldn't recommend it. As long as you can get the 7, which I think it should be there at least for there's still 7.5 left even in Vegas. So if you can get 7 or 7.5, I just see this being a really close game. It's tough to play at Autzen, obviously, at Oregon. Never going to be an easy place, but I just like Indiana a little bit better on paper, so I'm taking the points with the Hoosiers.
By the way, La Tech 4-0 against the spread going into that game last night, giving up the 4.5, and you're right, 35-7 to get drubbed last night against Kennesaw State, and you've been all over them all year long. Big Ten football, we also have Ohio State giving up the 14 against a 5-1 Fighting Illini on the road for Ryan Day and the group. Before we get there, let's talk about that Indiana-Oregon game. Where do you have it, Kai?
I like Kirk Cignetti. I really do, but I like Dan Lanning. I agree. I mean, anything over 7, I don't think I can give that. Oregon, golly, I mean, that's a hard place to play. I'm really high on this Oregon team, but Indiana has impressed me. And again, what has Oregon done besides beat a team that's freaking 0-4 UCLA beat? I mean, so again, I'm going to channel Kip with. I've been saying all along, who has Penn State played? Who has Penn State played? Well, now, I mean, who is Indiana played? But who has Oregon played? I agree. I think Indiana has had a rougher schedule, especially with that going on. But the greatest thing about college football nowadays with the NIL is there is a lot more parity now, in my opinion, because outside of the top 3 or 4 teams that just buy whatever the hell they want, you got a lot of teams that are spending less money, and it creates more parity. And if I'm making $250,000 at Tennessee and Auburn offers me $350, I can just leave, or $300, and kids are jumping ship. But that's a tangent for later. I'll leave that tangent to Kip, when he gets on, because he can go there much better than me. But I'm staying away from the game, not playing it at all.
We're gonna run through all of our big plays coming up here in just a few minutes, and of course we'll also talk Major League Baseball, the NFL coming up here. We got NHL action well underway as well. Another interesting game, Case, real quick, since we're running around the horn here. Ohio State giving up the 14 against the Fighting Illini. Ryan Day, does he have anything to worry about this weekend?
Not necessarily worry. I just think, I think he might get a little bit of a scare. I think it could be a close game. And I will say I have gotten more than any game this year. I went on a couple shows here and I've written about it. I've been giving out Illinois that I like them anything over 2 touchdowns. And I've gotten so much feedback that I'm an idiot and they have no chance. And everyone, this game, I've gotten the most blowback of anything all year. I mean, it's not like one of my bigger bets or anything. I just think it's a little... I just think it's a little high when I don't think Illinois is going to be outmanned in the trenches. I think they've been better than I thought. I feel like they really took a ding on their power rating when they lost to Indiana in such big fashion, but they've really been pretty impressive other than that. So, I'm on Illinois just a little bit, and we'll see if everyone can keep giving me grief about it a week later, or if maybe I'm onto something. I do seem like the only person in the world that's on Illinois, although clearly someone else is, because this line has stayed the same. We haven't seen a big move in Ohio State's direction.
Let me ask you something real quick, just from a gambling standpoint. I know how important 3 is. I know how important 6 is. I know how important 4 is. I know how important 7 is. How important is the combinations of those 7s? In other words, when you see a 14, obviously 14 and a half is different than the 14, but obviously as you get the higher numbers, you're talking about bigger spreads. 21 and a half certainly is different than 7 and a half, despite the fact that it's derivative of the number 7. Where do you play when you look at 14s or 21s or maybe even 10s and 14s? How do you play those?
Yeah, those are all. You approach them similarly. I also want to add Kip has texted me. He's had microphone problems, but he's listening, and he said he is with me. He's on Illinois as well. So I found one other one. That's one of his plays this week. Those you certainly nailed it. It's not rocket science. It's all the numbers that you would think that are kind of the secondary keys. 3 and 7 are always going to be the biggest. 7. College games land more at 7 than anything. NFL games land more at 3 than anything. But 10, 14, 17, 21, 24, even when you get to the bigger spread games, 31, it's the football numbers. It's where final scores land the most. That's just another way. Key numbers is just an easier way to say it. So I certainly try to exercise a lot of caution when you're around the 14 and a half, the 14 number. And especially it's a lot depends on the total. Like this total's pretty Ohio State, Illinois, for instance. It's pretty standard around like 51 or 50 and a half. I'd say you probably need to exercise a little bit less caution if it's 14 and a half and the total's like 70 or one of these crazy games with, I don't know, like the Pac-12 back in the day, because then obviously there's just a lot wider distribution of outcomes. But if it's a normal total, I definitely think you still need to be cognizant around those key numbers, not only 7 and 3.
There was a 70 that went up earlier this weekend, and I absolutely love the under in that ball game. We'll have as part of our big plays coming up here in just a few minutes. Right now, as we go around the horn, we also have Michigan, USC, a pair of 4-1 teams. Both teams playing quite well. USC giving up the 2.5. We mentioned UAB, FAU, UAB. Catching 4.5 on the road. We mentioned that because we're right here in their backyards. And also a very interesting ball game. Again, we had not talked about it. I just got off the phone with my son from Clemson. He's telling me he loves Clemson minus the 14. I said, listen, dude, I'm done with Dabo. I'm not even going to pretend to know what the hell is going on over there right now. So I'm just going to leave it alone and just pray that they get the victory. But he loves himself some Steve Sarkisian in Texas. He thinks, just like I do, that maybe it's time for Texas to show up to preseason number 1. They can't possibly start the season 3-3, can they, Kai? They're only giving up 1.5, and now they're catching 1.5. It's moved 3 points from Texas 1.5 to now Oklahoma 1.5. What do you like?
I'm going to reverse real quickly and let you know a key stat, I think, for that Ohio State game. Ohio State has given up 0 red zone touchdowns this year. 0.
Nice.
We'll see with Illinois. I think that's going to be a very low-scoring game.
Is that a useless? Those Tony Curry fact, that's actually a good one. I like that. That's good.
I just think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think Ohio State's defense is legit. I If I play the Oklahoma Texas game, I'm playing Oklahoma. I do not have any faith in anything Texas right now. I don't like the way they're playing. Nothing about it. And I think Oklahoma's defense is finally a Brent Venables defense, is what I think. If I actually like Oklahoma's chances better without Mateer this weekend, and nobody in the country is going to say that. But coming off of the break that he had, and it's right here in your hand, the most important thing about a quarterback is that grip. And I was watching a show talking about it. If he can't grip it and spin it correctly, he doesn't know where the ball's going enough.
Yeah.
And though I do not think Hawkins is great, don't get me wrong, and I think Texas's defense is pretty good, I just think Oklahoma, and I can't believe I'm saying this, especially after the year they had last year, but I think just lots of things came into play there. I just think Oklahoma is the better team.
Oklahoma's 5-0 right now, and you can certainly make that argument. They are record-wise, and of course they're sitting there preseason. Where? Nowhere. And now, right now, they're top 5. So they're the real deal. Okay, so where do you see the money going? Obviously, it's moved a lot on Oklahoma's side.
Yep, John Mateer, here we go. This is just the way I painted it up. I wish we could cut up what I said the last show coming into the season. I said they should be undefeated here with a great chance for Mateer to beat the preseason favorite. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I saw Texas falling apart to this extent coming and Arch being this big of a mess. I don't know. I could only look Oklahoma here. I luckily, I think when we talked on Tuesday, I was pretty pessimistic and said I didn't think Mateer was going to play, but just in case, I took one of the last +3s I could, just holding out a little bit of hope. And now that looks like it was a strong move because now the money's on Oklahoma. I made.
You said that Tuesday, and I played it immediately, just so you know. I thought Oklahoma, but when you said it Tuesday, I was like this on my phone while we were on the show, and I was like, Oklahoma +3, boom.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the fear he's too tough for his own good and he just doesn't have it. And I agree with you, Tony. There's always a fear that Texas at one of these weeks is just going to get it together. But I don't know, just to this point of the season, I haven't seen a whole lot to make me be really optimistic on Texas. I'll channel Kip again since he's not here and say Texas sucks because that's been his rallying cry. I still don't know if I fully agree even after last week. But, even at the new number, less than 3, I mean, I made Oklahoma a really slight favorite even without Mateer. Now, I don't know if I fully bought into that just because of Hawkins' clear limitations as a passer. But now that it looks like he's going to play, I mean, to me, it can only be Oklahoma or pass. But if you're a person that likes to live bet, I'd maybe have your betting apps out during this game because I think the first drive or two is going to be really going to show you what Mateer has. But man, this is a great setup if he plays and is anywhere close to himself, because even though he's not going to be up there statistically with the other Heisman candidates, especially now after missing the Kent State game where he could have poured some on, what a great story if they start undefeated. They basically saved Venables' job because he was on such a hot seat coming now, and if he grits out this a win over Texas with a broken hand. So I'm pretty excited about the possibilities. Look forward to sitting back and seeing how this one goes.
No, and really unfortunate too for them, the fact that Mateer is banged up, because if he was healthy, they are a juggernaut. I mean, they're playing really well. Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, but what's the line if he's healthy? If he hasn't been out, what is the line in this game? It's more like Oklahoma 4.5, maybe something like that. So, what is the latest injury report? I haven't seen anything. Is he still questionable, Case?
Yeah, I think he is questionable. I just. I mean, I first mentioned this a few weeks ago that I thought he might play. There was a lot of rumors that he was going to push to play, and it still seems like the back channels, if you dig into the Oklahoma fans, what they're saying is they're all convinced that, and not just people that are fans and wishful thinking, they're all convinced that he's going to get his way and push and he's going to start. So yeah, if you look at the official channels, it's 50-50, but if you talk to people, it seems like there's a sense he's probably closer to playing than not.
K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. Go to the website. It changes minute by minute, man. We got all kinds of great plays, tons of plays every Saturday, Sunday. We do hockey, we do women's basketball, you name it. We got it. And it's just a great time of the year. The weather's finally cooling off. I know that Duncan Dan there in Philadelphia is loving himself some weather here. We're all over Florida, the Coastal Sports Network and Digital. They do wonderful work for us. We're all over the country. Great to love down in the region here of wonderful Birmingham, Alabama. Let's go around the horn. Let's start with you, Case, first. Give me some of your hottest plays, your biggest plays. It seems like when I wait till about 35 or 40 minutes into the show, we always kind of run out of time. So we're going to give us plenty of time to go through some of our biggest plays for the weekend. I know you had several plays there for your bankroll contest and the starting lineup, which, by the way, is a local show here, runs on ABC 3340. Goes right up against Alabama, Missouri. Coming up tomorrow morning. So you can watch our show and then kick it off with Alabama, Missouri. It's going to be awesome. But give me some of your biggest plays, Case.
Yeah, well, I gave Indiana at 9.5. I really fired that one, and I hate to say it, although I have to point out this game just because it's a good discussion of what we talked about on the 14. I mean, one of my other bigger plays this week is I really fired on Boston College plus 14.5. So sorry, I'm on opposite side of your son. I don't necessarily think they're going to win outright or anything, but this is one where I think 14 is really important. Similar to the Ohio State game, it's got a pretty standard total, like right around the 50s. I could be wrong, and Clemson's offense is entirely fixed. I mean, Cade Klubnik barely put the ball on the ground last week. But, I mean, you see North Carolina, the circus is back this week. They have recruiting violations. They are talking buyouts. And I don't know. I just felt like there was such a strong move and such a, everyone is so quick to say Clemson's back now. I need to see it more than against a North Carolina team that's like a.
Can I tell you something right now? I will bet against my son's heart. I hope he's not listening to the show. Santo, I'm sorry, honey, but someone's got to pay for your college, and it's coming from my pocket. So I will bet against my son's heart. Normally, when we're watching the game together, I'm one of those guys where every time I watch a game with him and I have the other side, I lose. Every single time. He has no action. You ever go to Vegas and someone has no action on anything, and they're the schlep rock? They bring you a loser every time they get near you. I hate people like that. Don't tell me how much you love or hate a team if you ain't got action on it, especially when I've got action. Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that is a game where the 14 is important to me. I think it's mostly 14s now, so it would be a smaller play. If it gets back to 14.5, I feel really good about Boston College. I mean, they got blown out last week too and looked terrible, but I don't know. To me, there's not as much noise there. I trust Bill O'Brien. I think if anything, that should bring out a little sharper point to them. I just thought that was aggressive to make Clemson that big of a favorite after one game against a team I don't think highly of. I guess since I talked about one of your teams, now I feel bad. I'm picking against Kai's team all the time, but man, I just feel like this is a good spot for Arkansas. I don't necessarily think they're going to win or anything, but I think it's going to. Bobby Petrino clearly made a bunch of big changes there. I think Tennessee's better on paper, but it's got to be tough to prepare for this defense when it seems like things are going to be drastically different. They might have some different kids in the game. They're probably going to schematically be a little bit different. Almost always in college football, it's a weird thing. It's probably something I would just dismiss offhand, but if you don't see it year after year, like these teams have a jump usually when they have an interim coach come in a week or two, even when it's like a coordinator or whatever. So I really expect a better effort out of Arkansas. I'm not a big team totals guy. Maybe this would be one, though, you could go like Arkansas team total over, because there's still the chance this could end up being like 70-55 and they don't cover. But I really expect Arkansas to kind of show out for Bobby Petrino here. And I think the defense is so devoid of talent that long term I still couldn't buy on them. But one game coming off a bye week where you don't really know what to expect, I could see the defense being a little bit better here. I like Arkansas.
Real quick before you move on, because he's a Tennessee man, he's wearing the shirt. What's your thoughts on that, Kai? Because I know you have no problems going against your boys.
I don't. I love team totals. Tennessee's team total is 41.5, and it's crazy because I'm like, I kind of like that. Arkansas's defense. I just don't think Tennessee coaches are going to be able to scheme for a defense they've never seen, an offense they've never seen. Now, I love what Tennessee will probably do in the first half as quick as they start. But Green is a very good quarterback for Arkansas. I think that Bobby Petrino is. I heard rumors, know some people in Arkansas, that he was kind of kept on a leash by Pittman with what he could do. Now there's no leash. Nobody's going to tell him, what he can and can't do. So I think Arkansas is going to go out there and throw caution to the wind, do everything they can. I'll tell you this, Tennessee better win the damn game because it's my 12-year-old's first game in Neyland to see them. We're going, so they better win.
I hope you have a fantastic time. That's fantastic. Continue, my case, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be bold enough to say Arkansas is going to win outright. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe even other derivatives if you want to bet them first half or something. I really feel like they should come out with an inspired effort. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so those are some of the bigger ones. I'm scrolling here. I'm getting a ton of market agreement with this, although it hasn't passed over a key number yet. I'm just looking to get on Notre Dame as much as possible. I know they're laying like 23 now, 22.5, whatever. I got 21.5, but man, I really think they can beat anyone, and it's kind of clouded by the fact that they lost 2 games. So I've even been on NC State a lot this year, but I think that should probably be more. I mean, it's basically there now, but I think it should be more around the 24 range. Just scrolling. I guess just to throw in one more, I took, and you could still get a 10.5. This is another one where these secondary key numbers we're talking about are important because I definitely wouldn't want to go below 10. But I kind of like Rice getting anything double digits at
Ooh.
UTSA. Oh no, that's your team, right? You don't
No,
like
no, no, no. Hey, UTSA. No, he was kind of one of my pre-coaches. I think he's 2-2 in the season. So no,
Yeah, no, I like him as a coach a lot too. I feel bad for him. I mean, they had such great years. I really feel like he's a guy that missed out. Trailers striking when the iron's hot. I mean, he could have probably had
totally
another
agree with you.
job. And
Totally
yeah,
agree with you.
now it's tough in the AAC. I mean, the AAC is really good this year, and there's just programs with more resources than them. It's kind of an uphill battle, but it's pretty clear to me they were a little overvalued coming into the season. Their
Yes,
quarterback, Owen McCown, hasn't been
I
much.
was
And
I was the one that overvalued them.
oh, not only you. I mean, I think I bet the over too, but they were like the third favorite in the AAC, and we've just seen enough to say that's not true. And Rice is just really hard to prepare for on a week-to-week basis. They run this weird shotgun spread
Strange.
offense. So yeah, Rice is also another one I landed on.
I'm going to go next, and I'll talk about the UAB Blazers. I do a show every single week with Mark Ingram, who's the UAB athletic director. I love having him on. We can talk his and O's all you want, but I love when they pull back the curtain a little bit on athletic directors and what's going on. We had a remarkable podcast we did yesterday where we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes about Bill Belichick. We asked the question, if Bill Belichick wants the job, do you have to give him the job? If you're at college and Bill Belichick says, I want this job, do you have to give it to him? Did North Carolina have to do that? Remarkable answers there. Did go in depth about Trent Dilfer. Not going to sugarcoat it. The worst loss he's had since he's been at UAB was this past week against Army. They were demoralized. They couldn't travel with anybody. The government shut down. They only had their first string guys. They came in and just absolutely punched UAB in the face. UAB's defense did look better, but Army is a bad football team, period. They got that late touchdown where UAB went for it on the fourth and whatever it was from their own 20. Army gets the ball back, and obviously they run it in to make the score look a little more lopsided than it actually was, and they put the 31 spot. I like the under in this game. It opened at 70.5. It's down to 67.5. FAU's averaging 34 points a ball game their last 4 games. Yeah, they're going to sling the ball. They're going to go from playing a team that ran the ball 60 times to now to a team that throws the ball 60 times. So the defense better be better. But the defense, if you're going to put your finger on one thing, if you must, on one thing that's actually looked like and it's improving a little bit is UAB's defense. So I'm going to say they're going to hold them under the 34. I don't think UAB is going to put up 34. I think it flies under the 68.5. I really like that particular game. I think Florida's going to come down to earth a little bit. I don't think that Texas win was as big as everyone thought it was. I do think that DJ Lively, I think he had a fantastic game. I think he was 21 or 28 or something like that, but only 7 touchdowns, 7 picks in the year. Very pedestrian-like season. Probably his best game he had against Texas last week. Again, I don't think Texas defense is as good as we thought it was. So I'm going to take A&M and give up the 7 in the hook. I think A&M's defense has been fantastic. I think they do well. And Marcel Reed, a quarterback that no one's talking about, 11 touchdowns, 3 picks in the year. Great game manager. And I did a show with Jay Barker for 15 years. Game manager is a good thing, my friends. Be a game manager all you want. If you're game manager, that means you have pieces, you have skill sets around you. You don't have to be the man. And I don't think Marcel Reed has to be the man for them right now, A&M. So I'm going to take A&M minus the 7.5. And then despite the fact that they're 1-3 against the spread, I know we haven't seen a full game against them yet. I cannot believe that this could be the game that's going to save Hugh Freeze's job, because I think if he beats Georgia, that's how big this game is. Outside the Alabama-Auburn game, this is the second biggest game for Hugh Freeze. If he gets this victory, they go 4-2. They're going bowling the whole 9 yards. They knock off Georgia. This game is huge, not only for Auburn football, but also for the psyche of Auburn football fans and their football players. But I can't do it. Georgia's 4-1. They're only giving up 3.5. I'm going to take the half. Again, you look at the numbers. Auburn has been 1-4 in over-unders, which means they're playing sloppy, ugly football. They're only averaging 13 points a ball game when they play SEC play. I don't see them putting up a 20 spot against Georgia, and I certainly see Georgia putting up at least 23 against this Auburn defense. So I'm going to take the Georgia Bulldogs minus the 3. Actually, I have them in a 2-team parlay with A&M and the Georgia Bulldogs minus the 3. Kai, what are you liking as you look around the horn here?
Well, first off, I know Kip is listening. So, Kip, I want you to look at your phone and respond to the text. All right. So, there are some interesting games. There's a great game tonight that people don't realize it has some playoff implications. South Florida and North Texas tonight. Dropped to
Great
a
game,
pick.
by the way. Very good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
It's dropped to a
Great
pick
game.
'em. South Florida's favorite. I'm leaning North Texas here, especially at home, even as high as I've been on South Florida since the beginning of the year. I've also seen some things on Rutgers and Washington, and a lot of people on the over 60.5 in this game, which I do not understand at all with Washington's defense. They held. I mean, I know Ohio State scored 28 against them, but that's Ohio State. Rutgers is not Ohio State. Rutgers is going cross country to Washington. I'm not going to lay the 10, but I'm going to stay under in that game tonight. I really like that as well. I think there's some get right spots for some teams this week. I really do. I like, and this is not a get right, but Ole Miss. We talked about it a little bit on the show. Ole Miss going in against a Washington State team that gave up 59 points to North Texas. Now, Ole Miss plays a little bit slower than North Texas, but you're telling me you're going in and their team totals 44.5. You don't expect them to score 45 points in a game at home against a team that has given up over 50 points to much less competition, in my opinion. Another sneaky game, 11 o'clock, James Madison against UL Lafayette. Now, it's crept up to 18, which scares me a little bit. I got it 17 earlier in the week, but I think James Madison could actually just destroy them in this game. And I know that's a game nobody's talking about.
Good football team.
The get right game I'm talking about is Iowa State at Colorado. I just don't think Deion has the team that can do this. I think that Iowa State is going into a spot where they need to get right, and I think this is a chance for them to actually get right.
And they just talk about. I mean, Deion was everywhere last year. He was on College Game Day every weekend. They did College Game Day. It's just been unbelievable. A couple of years he's been there, and you don't hear anything about the 2-4 Buffalo Bills. Or Buffalo Bills, Buffalo, Colorado, Buffalo. They might say, the Buffalo Bills. They didn't look good this past weekend either. But you don't hear anything about Colorado this year. It's just amazing the fact that we just kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, I want to get Case's take on this, especially since he's there. This Air Force UNLV game. UNLV is giving up 7 now. The total has come down, which I don't really understand. I don't think Air Force, whose defense is horrendous. And we even talked about it, the way the game versus Navy played out, those games look differently. I do think that the new freshman Skanka or whatever his name is for Air Force is pretty good, but I just don't think they can slow UNLV's offense down. I think UNLV can score as many points as they want in that game. So I'd like to hear that from him as well. And then I really believe that it's the last hurrah for your UAB Blazers this weekend, his head coach. I don't understand why that he's still there. I will tell you that I took Florida. I'm not convinced Marcel Reed can be the game manager in a really, really, really against a really what I think is a very good defense from Florida. And then also I took 10 with South Carolina earlier in the week. LSU is not LSU without Nussmeier. There's a lot of good things about them, but I think South Carolina can keep that game there. Within the number. And then one more I'd like to hear Case also talk to it. Utah at home against Arizona State. Weather coming in. Levitt's not going to be playing. I really like Utah only giving up 5 there.
Case?
Yeah, I'll try to remember them all. I agree. I didn't bet the total just as I've barely even looked at college football, honestly, since Monday with hockey season starting. I've been so in hockey. So this is you're getting my really off the cuff takes here. I did lay 5.5 with UNLV earlier this week. I know it's back to 7 now. I still probably fine for a smaller bet. But I agree with Kai. I could only look at the over. I have a tough time seeing Air Force's defense is just really dreadful. They're terrible. I don't see how they stop UNLV at all. If UNLV does have any problems, I feel like it would be defensively for them. Air Force does have some guys on offense. So, certainly this is one I usually run away from, when people say there's no way you can play an under here. It's all over. But this is one of the few games where I fully agree with that. The other, what were the other? There was two other, or I know he said he likes South Carolina. I don't think that was the game we talked about. I am opposite there. I bet LSU earlier in the week, 8.5. I mean, maybe I'm just too optimistic just on a team I was coming in high on the year, but I felt like if anyone needed a bye week, it was them. We'll see if they made use of it. They were so banged up. I thought maybe they'd be a little bit healthier, although I do know there's been some negative Nussmeier updates, so maybe I am out of it there. I know Kip is also on South Carolina. I think he was listening to the show at one point, but he's not texting our group text. Seems like he's just texting me directly, but I was going to give out to him real quick. He said he has South Carolina, USC, Alabama, and Florida plus 7.5. He also put Texas. I don't know if that was a typo though, because he's been such a Texas detractor. Although maybe he just had to qualify that he still hates Texas, because he said Texas could lose 4 or 5 games preseason, but seems to be picking them this week. Interestingly, what were the other couple of games I was supposed to talk about?
By the way, but
he also has Wisconsin and Illinois and Arkansas and Tennessee, both their team totals over. He did say he's still watching.
Okay.
Good. We'll take all the viewers we can get, brother. That's good. Next time,
you did talk to Utah, Arizona.
Yeah, God, I need to cut myself off from I've been against Arizona State all year, and I've honestly been pretty impressed with them. But because I was so impressed with them, I was like, man, why is this number running? I dove in and took some Arizona State plus 6, I think on Tuesday, and now Sam Levitt out. I do not like that position at all. So I don't know. Maybe I'll watch. Hopefully I can be by a TV of this game, watch, and maybe if Arizona State gets up, I can take some Utah live, because I think Levitt's a huge part of their team. I do still think that it's a plus running matchup for Arizona State. I mean, their running backs are pretty great, so maybe they don't get blown out, but I certainly would not be taking Arizona State right now without their quarterback.
Maybe a good game,
Tony,
too.
One more to talk about. Yeah. Texas Tech and Kansas.
Yeah. Talking about teams I need to cut myself off from, and I actually did stand by it this week. I'm not betting it. I technically showed value on Kansas. I think their offense is pretty good, pretty underrated, but I've been betting against Texas Tech a lot, and it's just pretty clear that they're much closer to the elite tier than they are the tier of all the Big 12 teams. I mean, they spent their money wisely, I think we can say now, with a lot of confidence. They look really, really good, and they have depth too. Is the thing. A part of the reason why I keep betting against them is they have a lot of injuries, but the injuries just haven't mattered. They just reload. They have these second string guys, so I guess if I absolutely had to make a play, I could see Kansas hanging strong, but I've been wrong on Texas Tech all year, and I'm just not willing to lose any.
They're on to something. Texas Tech. So here's what old Tommy Tuberville's old team did. They decided to give every lineman who signed up $25,000 just to go play ball for them. That was a riddled rumor, but it's not a rumor. It's the real deal. And so you get $25,000, even if you don't play. You got $25,000. So they went line you, man, and it's working for them. They're 5-0. They're giving up the 14. Another sneaky game real quick before we get into Major League Baseball and the NFL. BYU, sneaky good, 5-0, top 20. No one really talks about them because of where they're at. On the road at Arizona, the Wildcats, and that line's only 1.5. I love games that are close to pick'ems because that way all you got to do is win the football game and you win your bet. Where you guys got that one?
I was hoping to get an Arizona plus 3. It's now clearly not going to happen, so I'll probably just be passing. I will say, I guess I can channel Kip now. I think BYU's played like the worst schedule in the nation. They have been, and their underlying statistics really aren't even that good. I just feel like they haven't played anyone halfway decent. I do think Arizona's halfway decent. That being said, I did make BYU a 2-point favorite, so right about where it is now. Just because I think it's hard to even adjust for how poor of a schedule they've played. I was interested at Arizona at 3, but I don't think it's going to get there.
All right.
I like Arizona. I think the freshman, number 47, quarterback Herb Black or whatever his name is. I mean, this is going to be the toughest place he's played, in my opinion. And I think Arizona wins the game.
We got some NFL action to get into before we wrap it up with Major League Baseball. Of course, we have a pair of Game 5s so getting ready between the Cubs, the Brewers, Detroit, and Mariners. I know we have a lot of action on both those games we're looking forward to as far as the futures goes, particularly with Case. But we got some great games in the National Football League kind of going through the schedule right now. I'm looking at the Seahawks and Jaguars, a 3-2 against a 4-1. You get the Cowboys against the Panthers. You get the Chargers, the Dolphins. Obviously, that game didn't look as good on paper as it did before the season started up. You also have a pair of 4-1 49er Buccaneer games. I saw earlier this morning that Baker Mayfield right now has got the inside track to win the MVP of the National Football League. Kai, you believe it?
I want to know what Cincinnati is thinking with their new quarterback and what's going to be happening with the 840-year-old Flacco moving forward. I mean, I totally understand it. There's so many games this weekend in the NFL that I just don't care about. I mean, who can get excited about the Rams Ravens the way the Ravens are playing this year? And knowing I'm all over the over 11.5. If the Ravens lose this week, they have to win out to get over. I'm like, wow. And I'm not sure they can win. I mean, they're catching 7.5 at home against the Rams.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. It's like almost every single game I look at is like a pair of 2 and 3 teams. I totally agree with you. It's just one of those weekends in the National Football League where nothing's jumping out. The one game that does kind of jump out, and it's only because they're 2 and 3, and then no one will be surprised by that. If you had the under, you're probably feeling pretty good. But the Lions at the Chiefs, I think, is very interesting. We certainly talked about the game last night where the Giants doubled up the Eagles. But what's your thoughts on the Lions and Chiefs, Case?
Yeah, this game I think is the game of the week to me, despite the Chiefs' struggles. I think this is their last game without Rashee Rice, right? And the offense really seems to be kind of back. So the Chiefs do, despite losing, I mean, they lost the kind of game they've won every other year for the last 5 years against Jacksonville. It was bound to turn around at some point. I've heard a lot of people express surprise that the Lions are the underdog, and me too, honestly. I bet some Lions, I think last week on the look ahead, even a worse number. Now I had plus 1.5. I'd say the reason why the line is the way it is the Lions have cluster injury both in the secondary and on the offensive line, which were kind of like 2 of their strengths earlier in the year. So the Chiefs certainly look healthier here, despite they've had all their share of injuries too. Their backs are kind of up against the wall. I still don't think I could lay points with the Chiefs right now. Their defense isn't playing very well. So I don't love my Lions positions, but I am technically on the Lions there, and I do think that should be a good game of the week. And dare I say, I think we use this too freely, but I think in this case, this could be a Super Bowl preview.
Ooh, there you go.
Could
Yeah,
be.
and it kind of bothers me because I hate the Chiefs. My Cincinnati Bengals actually had the better of them several times, but they took them down, and I can still see Kelsey doing his party in Cincinnati, and I hated when he did that. Now all of a sudden he's got himself a wife, and their team sucks, which makes me kind of happy, I guess. Steelers Browns. Another guy we have not been talking about at all is Aaron Rodgers, and it's just crazy because he's when he was 0-5 or 0-4 for the Packers, remember where he said RELAX, relax, and of course that year they made the playoffs, and here he is, 49 years old, playing for the Steelers at 3-1, right in the catbird seat in the AFC. He's right where he wants to be, and now they got the Browns coming to town. They're giving up 5.5. This looks like an easy game to me. I don't want to be all over the Steelers. Am I wrong?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you on the Steelers part. I do think you might have said 49. I think he's only 41. If
I
he
know.
was
I was
doing
playing.
this,
Yeah. No, I was playing. He's
yeah, okay,
59,
yeah.
69 after 40. Unless you're Tom Brady, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, well, if he does this at 49, they'll certainly be talking about him. I will say though, I don't think he's been great this year. I've been kind of underwhelmed, but the Steelers just find ways to win games. I know there's a lot of stats. Like every pass he throws is within he never throws downfield anymore. It's all within 5
Yep.
yards of the line of scrimmage. But it's worked, and I kind of feel like it's going to work again here. I mean, this is a tough spot for the Browns flying back from London. They have some injuries. Dylan Gabriel, of course, making his first start. I actually bet Pittsburgh twice. I was shocked when they opened a 4-point favorite. I bet 4. It moved. I still decided I didn't have enough. I bet more at 5.5. It's now 6. It's a little smaller bet, but I mean, the Steelers coming off a bye. I don't know. I kind of agree with you. Seems a little bit too easy. I like the Steelers here, even though I get they don't look very good statistically. I kind of just put down Aaron Rodgers, but this is what they do every year. They don't look good statistically. It looks like they're overachieving, and they just continue to do it. I don't know. To me, this seems like a pretty good spot for them to win by a touchdown.
Gone are the days where Aaron Rodgers is going 500 yards because he has to. He had that one monster game this year, and even with that, he's averaging under 200 yards per game throwing the football. But he has thrown 8 touchdowns and 3 picks. And again, you were talking about game manager, maybe in a Mike Tomlin run offense with that defense. It's a perfect fit. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it's just an absolute perfect fit. Don't screw it up. Don't give the game away. Keep us close in the fourth quarter. We'll win our football games. They're going to be a pain in the ass for everybody in the AFC this year for sure. You see it any differently, Kai?
I just want to ask the question: how bad are these teams? The Jets the Panthers are catching 3 at home against Dallas. The Dolphins are catching 4 at home against the Chargers, and the Titans are catching 5 at the Raiders. Oh my God!
Yeah.
What the hell?
The Titans are a bad football team. They screwed up. I
Yes,
mean,
yes, they are.
from top to bottom, they got rid of their quarterback, they got rid of the running back, they got rid of their coach. That was
I'm
done.
just saying, watch for Cam Ward to have a huge game this weekend.
All right. Any other plays you guys want to throw out in the NFL before we jump into Major League Baseball?
I could use that Cam Ward huge game because I have him for Rookie of the Year, and he's given me no Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's given me no reasons for optimism yet. Hopefully, it does come against this awful Raiders defense. I will say I've been to, probably close to 100 NFL games since the Raiders moved here, and I've never less looked forward to a game than this week's Titans at Raiders. It speaks to you of how poor these two teams look. I wouldn't even go if I didn't have to.
K4Wins.com. K4Wins.com.
I do think Buffalo and Atlanta, the early Monday night game, I think you're going to get a lot of points in that game in the Dome. I really do. Just one more game to throw out there.
All right. I'm writing Buffalo over right now so I can play that bad boy with you coming up on Monday. Let's get into some Major League Baseball. There are 2 words that are actually about as good as a Game 7. That is a Game 5, particularly when you're talking a best of 5. We got the Cubs, the Brewers pushing it. Detroit Mariners, Game 5. Dodgers got it done. Yeah, Major League Baseball, I'm doing my best I can to watch. And thank goodness they play Major League Baseball during the middle of the week because on weekends it's just kind of hard to watch these things because I just love football so much. But Kai's our baseball guy. And again, when you go into Game 5s, man, that's always a good thing for Major League Baseball. What are you liking there?
Well, first, I cannot believe seeing the pitcher for Philly, Cabrera, or whatever the hell his name was, and the horrendous play he made last night. But everybody's saying he cost them the game. If it was a perfect throw, the guy was going to be safe. He had beat it out. I mean, the ball going off his glove. Pitcher still made a great try. Feel for the guy. I've got futures on Seattle, and I got futures on Milwaukee. I may hedge small. It being Scooble on the mound today.
To get him minus 110, to get Scooble anywhere minus 110 is a hell of a bargain. Yeah, really is.
Absolutely. And the Milwaukee and the Cubs. Milwaukee has not looked right the last 2 games. I don't know why, but I will say one of the greatest things that just to reverse a little bit back on you is I don't know if y'all saw the interview, but I've watched it 1,000 times as a Red Sox fan. Watching Big Papi and Vlad Jr. go, "Duh, Yankees lose" is so much fun. And A-Rod and Jeter happen to sit there on the set and listen to it over and over and over again.
No, it's pretty good. I will give you that. Case, any thoughts on Major League Baseball before we wrap it up? We'll get it after. Don't forget, K4Wins.com is our website. You can go there, get our plays whenever you want. And we will mention some hockey before we leave. We have to do that. But anything else on Major League Baseball you want to get into, Case, before we talk about the puck?
Just have, like Kai, my fingers crossed for the Mariners today. I really wish they got it done in Game 4. I've been talking about how I like them all year. I do technically show a little bit of value on them today. Even against Scooble, I mean, they've already beat him once. Kirby's top-level stuff, which hopefully he can tap into, is just as good. And the Tigers lineup is so bad, but hopefully they didn't find something here down the stretch. There is one sportsbook in Vegas that still has an under 6. They don't open until 9. So I'm hoping as soon as we get off, I can get a little bit of that under 6. I do think this will be real low scoring. That one, I don't have anything on Cubs Brewers yet. I know we're on opposite sides there. I have Cubs to win the series. It's been a really close series, just like I thought. Should be an exciting game to watch, but I haven't even seen the pitching matchup yet, so I don't really have an opinion on that.
They don't have it up, and it's amazing too because this is the first time that these two teams have met in the respective leagues in the postseason play, which is hard to believe because they're 90 miles apart. If you've ever been up in the Milwaukee, Chicago area, you stop at the Broad Stop, you get in there, man, just fantastic eating up in that part of the country, particularly during baseball season for sure. All right, NHL.
Hey, Tony,
yes, sir.
Just point out, Kip did tell us 2 weeks ago it was that either the Yankees or the Dodgers was going to lose, and they would not be in the World Series. So he got props out there to him as well because he called that before any of the rest of us.
Yeah, I did.
I was on the Blue Jays series, Price. In fairness, I just liked the Yankees against the Red Sox. But
There you go. Let's talk about some NHL real quick before we wrap it up. What you got out in Las Vegas? The first week of the season started. How we doing?
I mean, the first two nights were great, and last night was not so good. I got beat pretty good last week. Stupidly, there's no game tonight. I think the NHL should always have at least one game. There's
Really?
16 games tomorrow, and I haven't dug into them yet. I'll do it later today. But yeah, I don't know. It's been fun to get us back in the swing. The Avalanche, who I talked about on the show a lot, started 2-0. The Lightning, the other team I was really high on, were pretty rough last night, but I'm still not really worried. Vasilevsky, their great goaltender, was hurt all offseason, and he certainly looked rusty. They weren't great defensively. I think they're a really good defensive team. I think they'll get it together. But yeah, still bullish on those two teams, and got to be encouraged with how the Avalanche have started despite having to play a backup goalie while Blackwood gets back up to 100%.
Kai, I know you love to lay the puck once in a while. Anything strike out to you this week?
I was really disappointed with Edmonton in their first game, just the way they played. And I know Case is high on them as far as where they're going for the season. One of the things that I bet, and I'm regretting it after watching them twice, is I bet Florida. For people that don't know, they don't necessarily get wins, losses, totals like that. They do points. I bet them under 100 points for the season. And after watching one game, much less two, I'm like, shit, I'm in trouble.
No, we're good. Don't worry. Don't worry. Yeah, they played Philadelphia and Chicago, two of the worst five teams. I'm not high on Florida. I'm with you on that. I think I got 100.5, but I'm not scared of Florida this year. Famous last words, back-to-back champions. I think we'll get there.
It's an early season, man.
It's hard to three-peat.
Yeah. Kip will be back with us coming up next week. We're on every single Tuesday and Friday on the Coastal Digital Sports Network. And, of course, right here on Tony Kurre Radio, we're on every single day. As a matter of fact, I run this show as many times as I possibly can. Wherever you get your favorite podcast, go to our YouTube channel. That is K4Wins YouTube channel on Tony Kurre Radio. And follow us wherever you're at, K4Winners, wherever you're at on social media. And we'll do it again coming up on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend of great sports. Fantastic. Everything's rolling here. And, gentlemen, I appreciate you. We'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.